Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Real Influencers Project. I'm your host, Craig Reynolds, and with me today is one of the pioneers of BMX racing, one of the fastest men on two wheels ever. Nickname is the Human Dragster. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tommy Brackens.
Hi, guys. First of all, Craig,
today,
I want to thank you for having me on.
Oh, no. Thank you for actually coming on the show. Like, this is a complete honor. You've always been an inspiration. You've always been one of the best people at the track that I've ever met. I've never heard one person ever say anything bad about Tommy Brackens.
Like, you never met my wife? No, I'm just kidding.
Well, that's right. That's right.
I'm just kidding.
She knows you best, so I get that.
Yeah.
But just in general, one of the best people that the sport had ever had, and that says a lot, because we get some great people in BMX. But dude, you're amazing.
Well, I appreciate that, man. I mean, I'm just being myself. This is who I am,
and that's all we can ever be. I've said it 1,000 times. If you can be yourself, that's all. That's enough. And if it's not enough for someone else, that's their problem.
Yeah, that's their deal.
Yep. So let's get into your racing career. Let's talk about how you got involved in BMX. When did that start, and how did that start? Who influenced you to do that?
I got started back in August. A guy named Mark Harrison came by my house. We had a riding place. We used to ride motorcycles called Devil's Dip in South Central.
Okay.
It's right behind Southwest College in LA. And he came by my house on a powder blue bike. I never seen a bike like that before. It was like today's standard double diamond shape, a triangle shape. Never seen that type of bike before, ever. Yeah. And it was a Raleigh Rampart bike. And he had the number plates and all that stuff on it. And this thing was light. I'm used to the Kents and Royce Unions and all that big 35-pound bike, 40-pound bike. This thing's like, you could toss it up in the air like no biggie,
Right.
And he was going up there to ride, and he was asking me that. He said, hey, you ought to come up there with me, test ride it. I said, all right. So I went up there with him. He had his, I think he had a gold metal flake helmet with like a duck bill. We called it back then a duck bill, the visor. I think it's like 2 feet long, man. I think it was
the flat one, right?
The flat one. It goes way out here, And I put that thing on. I went out riding, and it was fun. It was fun. And he said, hey, he was going out to Van Nuys on a Wednesday night, I think it was. And I ought to go out there with him and check it out. Like, yeah, I'll go. So went out there on the Wednesday night, Valley Youth Center. And I seen this track. I'm looking at it, and I'm like, man, this track is small. I mean, it's really small. I could go run that track twice without breathing hard. So he said, go for it. Right? Man, I was so wrong.
Yeah, right.
So I came off the starting gate, went over the first jump, went into the first turn, and I was winded coming out of the first. I couldn't even breathe. And from that moment on, I was hooked.
Really?
Then that Friday, that's when I signed up. I can remember the date. It was August 11th, 7:30 p.m., 1978.
Really?
Yep, Valley Youth Center, Van Nuys.
How old were you?
I was just about 18 years old.
You started when you were 18?
Yeah, just about 18. Yeah, I was 2.5 months for turning 18.
Really? So you didn't have a super long amateur career?
I had about 1.5 years, 2 years max, something like that.
And then you turned pro? Yeah.
I turned pro at the age of 19, going on 20, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, people freak out when they hear that.
I had no idea. Like, yeah, and that's I was like, man, I want to know. I've always wondered about your amateur career because I didn't always hear a lot about it because I started racing in '81, so I didn't hear about a whole bunch of your amateur stuff. But that's why, because it only lasted a year.
Yeah, it lasts about roughly close to 2 years, something like that. 'Cause I remember First year, I started in 78, 79. I raced, I think that whole year I was 16 over novice. And of course, I had my license, I had my truck and all that. So I was driving around different races, and I raced everywhere.
Really?
And I remember racing, when I turned expert, I remember racing Sean Texas and Donnie Atherton. And Donnie Atherton and I became really good friends, really close. Yeah. I was going to Van Nuys 2 or 3 times a week, going up there and racing. And I started green. When I mean green, I mean green.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I didn't know anything. You know, I didn't know about tires, gearing, the length of the crank, nothing. I mean, I got some stories where I met Chanel. I was racing, I was about to turn expert when I met Chanel. And Chanel was 19 years old.
You know what's really funny? And for those of you who don't know, Turnell Henry, Donnie Atherton, Sean Texas, all pioneers of the sport, all legendary people that when you look back at the sport, these are guys that were basically the foundation, that laid the foundation for the sport. Yeah. And it's awesome to hear how these guys are part of your development.
Oh, yeah. These old guys influenced me quite a bit. I had a lot of people who influenced me, but the main 2 people that influenced me was Chanel Henry and Anthony Sewell. And where we lived, I lived in South Central. Okay, now Chanel lived in Linwood. Mm-hmm. Anthony lived in the Crenshaw district. So I was like right in the middle. So you go up north, Anthony's in the Crenshaw district. You go down south, Chanel's over there. And so we all used to meet up someplace, and we used to go riding in schools, you know, playgrounds and stuff.
Right. After
they left school, though, because back in the day in our neighborhood, it was too dangerous for us to be riding in the street. Sure. You know, I got shot at a few times. I recall Tunnell and I would finish up riding someplace, and he came to my house, and we was talking in front of my house, and some guy pulled up and was shooting at the house across the street from my house. And Tunnell just flew over the hood like Starsky and Hutch. You know, he jumped over the hood of his car. We both hid behind his car, so the guys took off. And I stood up and I started talking to him like, you know, it was no big deal. And he's like, dude, someone just shut up. Yeah, that happened all the time. Like, really? To me, it was no big deal. Yeah.
What an incredible hurdle to have to overcome. Like, and this is everyday life for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Right.
That was our everyday life. You know, it was stressful riding the bikes up and down the street because we constantly have to watch over our shoulders.
So you can't just go out and do sprints. You got to go out and do sprints and be on guard.
Oh, we done sprints big time.
Well, yeah, you're the human dragster, Tommy. Hello, you don't get that nickname because you're slow, right?
No, I was a sprinter in high school.
Oh my God, I was going to ask you about this. So let's go back before this.
Yeah.
What were you ran track before?
Yeah.
Before BMX.
Yeah.
What was your discipline on the track?
Controlled breathing and.
Did you run the 100? Did you run the 200? What did you run?
I ran the 220.
Really?
Yeah, I ran the 220, and I normally would like sprint probably 3/4 of the 220. And about that time, I'm flat out. And the coach kept telling me, just slow it down, slow it down. It's hard for me to slow it down. I just want to just go.
Right.
Just go.
Yeah.
You know, and I watched a couple of guys on the varsity team. They were doing it. And they start off like 4th or 5th place. I mean, they just kick back. You know, probably like about 30 or 40 yards from the finish line, man. They just coming. Now I was just the opposite.
Right.
I was the jackrabbit out there. You know, and then they slowly come past me, you know, like, God, it's just too hard. It's too hard.
Oh, that's amazing.
But my other brother, Joe, he's a year younger than me. He was a really good long distance runner. He used to start off in the back and just crank it. I mean, really? Towards the end. But I couldn't do that.
You want to get out in front. Yeah, you're a front runner.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go full speed.
Did you feel that when you picked up the bike, that sprint training from running transitioned over onto the bike really well?
Yeah. Yeah. Spinning wise and everything. I mean, it was really easy for me to spin. I mean, really easy.
What gear did you run? When you talk about spinning, that's when you're pedaling your cranks, pedaling as fast as you can, and you run a smaller gear, you're spinning the gear out.
Yeah. Back then, I think I had a 4416.
Okay.
But I didn't know what size cranks I had. I think I ran like a 10-speed, one-piece steel crank. And Tanel jokes around with me. He said Tommy had these little 3-inch cranks and he was just spinning his brains out, you know. But I told him no, they were like 165s after I got familiar with crank width and length and that. I said, no, they were 165s. You know, they were about 6
That's still ridiculously short. That's like for little kids.
Yeah. Yeah. But I didn't know.
You didn't know. Right.
No idea.
Right. Ignorance is bliss, man. A lot of things that we don't know that we just go out and do it. We're still doing it because we're not getting all that minutia in our head about, I need longer cranks. I need a shorter crank. I need gear. Just go do it. Sometimes that's the best way to do it, right?
And I was in a position to where that if I want to be good at something, I need to learn and absorb as much as I possibly can in a short amount of time, because it's like I say, I started racing late. And I wanted to be up there with Tanel and Anthony, because Anthony, I think Anthony had just turned pro, I think in 1980 or 81, 80. He turned pro and I was still amateur, and I wanted to go pro because I know I could keep up with those guys.
Right.
And Tanel always told me that, if you put your mind to it, and Tanel's a great teacher, man. That dude, I walk on water for Tanel and Anthony. I would. I mean, because those guys, they're my family, they're my brother. They come over to my house. My family met, him and Tanel and Anthony. But anyway, they inspired me to say, hey, you fast enough. They kept giving me inspiration, speeches.
Yeah.
You fast enough, dude. You fast enough. You could go pro. You could go pro. So that's when I decided, I said, I don't want to race amateur when I'm 20 years old. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So that's why I made the decision in 81 to go pro. But the early days, man, I mean, I got some pictures right now from the early days. I was probably 2 weeks. I have a big green plate. 2592X was my number.
Really?
With a green plate. The green plate is your beginner.
Right.
Still have that.
So let's fast forward a little bit. You obviously turned pro and had a wildly successful career. You became world champion. You were voted Nora Cup #1 by all the fans. Yeah, that's it. Look at, geez, dude. And then you went on and had some really solid sponsors as well. I don't know the order in which they were. I'm not sure if that's the order behind you right now.
That's the order behind. Matter of fact, I have another one that is down in the basement. I haven't built a shadow box for it yet.
Really?
But it's my very first sponsor.
Who was that?
Pedal Shop, North Hollywood.
Really?
I still have the jersey. I looked at that jersey. I'm like, I was that small? Jeez, man. I look like a 10-year-old.
Dude, I've got a pair of my old race pants, and they're like this wide. I'm like, how did I even fit into those? Number one. Yeah. And number two, no wonder those dudes are so much bigger than me. Like, that's crazy. A narrow hip little kid. It's crazy. Sheesh.
Yeah.
So how did you go from the bike shop to Torker? I mean, when I think about you, I think of you on Torker and GT. Like, those are the ones that when I think of Tommy Brackens, especially Torker, like first and foremost, like that to me, I don't know, it's you.
My very first sponsor was North Hollywood, the pedal shop.
Yep.
Larry Hall in it. And how I got on that team, Charlie Williams, which he was like 14 years old. I used to go by his house and pick him up and go to Van Nuys track.
Wicked fast kid.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
But Charlie Williams and a guy named Paul Enright went to Larry's, the pedal shop, and said, Larry, you need to sponsor this guy. This guy's really fast. He's going to be really fast, right? And Larry said, sure. He gave me a jersey. And he said, I could get his parts 10% above his cost. Dude, I was in heaven. I was like,
Right.
man, that was it. And from that moment on, I started to get the magazines and looking through the magazines and talking to different people about the gearing, the cranks, and everything, Dury's crank arms and
Right.
what's length and everything. And I mean, I was just a huge sponge, absorbing all of this. And after that, I started doing pretty good, at some of the races. Then I started going at some of these nationals and making some mains that didn't make main. But people used to tell me that if you made the main, you like the top 8 are like 30 or 40 guys.
Right.
Really. And so I'm like, nice, that's pretty cool. Then I started training. Didn't know what to train. I mean, didn't know anything about eating, nothing. I'm just drinking sodas, eating chips, cookies.
Oh, yeah.
And got good enough to where that people start to notice me. I won a couple of nationals and against Donnie Atherton. And I remember that Tanel and Anthony was on Team Jag. And I remember Tanel said, hey, we're going to see if we can get you on Jag team. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So they got me on Jag team. And I raced Jag, oh my gosh, probably 8 months. 8 or 9 months.
Really?
And probably maybe a little bit longer than that. Then Rennie sent me on tour when I was racing amateur. And I met up with the Lukes and I stayed on tour for 3 months. And they was racing all just the East Coast races.
Yeah.
And that helped me out quite a bit because it gave me a lot of experiences racing different tracks, different gates. Because back then we didn't have no gates like today. They just had a handle, a big old axe handle or something like that. And
Riders ready, Peltec, go.
Oh, yeah, it throws it, Yeah. And those are pretty wild. And then after that, we had a discussion, Tanel, Anthony, and myself. And Tanel and I, we still talk about this to this day. We went to Rennie Roker at Van Nuys track, and we had no idea this was going to happen. I went there and I told Rennie that I was going to go pro because I don't want to be 20 years old racing amateur class. And he said, no, you're not good enough yet to race pro class. And you will not be a good pro if you go pro. Right? I said, well, I'm going pro anyway. Now, mind you, we in Rennie's station wagon, myself, Tanel, and Anthony, and Carmen Roker and Rennie Roker sitting in the, driving passenger side. And I told Rennie that, okay, well, I'm going pro, that's it. I'm going pro. He said, I can't have another pro. I said, all right. So he was kind of upset with me. So he went with Tanel and started talking with Tanel. And Tanel said, I'm leaving the team. And I was shocked. And him and Tanel started talking, and Carmen, was getting a little bit upset. And he went to Anthony. Anthony said, I quit the team. I had no idea. All three of us quit at the same time.
Wow.
Right there. And I'm looking over, I'm like, holy crap. So Rennie was so pissed, and he said, Tommy, I need everything back from him. Well, only thing that he got back was the uniform, because that's the only thing he gave me was the uniform. Because the bike was mine. I paid for it.
Right.
Right. And so
were you guys riding Mongoose bikes when you guys were on Jack's Jag? Was that the like stickered Jock's bikes?
I think Mongoose had, this is the story between the Jag bike. This is what I heard. I don't know if it's true or not. It was a Mongoose bike that they were going to have it in production, but Skip has rejected that model. He wanted another model. He didn't want that particular model, so he wanted something else. And so Rennie came in and said, I take it, and ran with it.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I heard. I don't know if that's true or not.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Could be.
But it went from Jag. So when I went pro, the same year, ABA came up with the A and AA class.
Right.
And I raced the first race up in, I think it was Oregon, as a single A pro.
Really?
Took second, I think. Yeah, I got second, like $200, right?
Yeah, $200. Then you're like, yo, man, I'm banking.
Fat City.
Yeah. Who
Right.
won? Who won?
I don't know. I think it's probably a guy named Tom Jacobson. Tommy Jacobson. He's from Vegas. Good friend of mine as well. I believe he won. I'm not 100% sure, but I know I got second.
Sure.
And from that moment on, the rules stated for a single A to move up to double A, you have to win, I think, $1,000 in that year to move up.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the second race I won like about $100 something. The third race, I think it was in Detroit, Michigan, at the Silverdome. What's the Silverdome? Some kind of race over there. And no, it wasn't Silverdome. It was some kind of arena. And I wound up winning there. And Merle Minica and Gene Roden called me to the table. And he said, well, Brackens, look like you just dominating your class. We have to bump you up to double A pro. And I was like this crapping by what? I wasn't ready, but to them, I was ready.
You're taking all of our money. You got to get out of here. That's hilarious.
Yeah, so they bumped me up to double A pro. I mean, I won $422 total.
And that was it.
That was it. They bumped me up.
That's all you needed. Yeah, you had to go. So you get bumped up. Yeah. Sorry, we had to lower the range because you're too fast, Mr. Dragster. Thank you very much. So you get bumped up and you're racing now, Stu Thompson.
Yep.
And Scott Clark.
Clark, Barry Craver, Kevin McNeil, Brent Patterson, you name it.
Brian Patterson, everybody.
Now, Brian Patterson, I don't think Brian Patterson was pro. He came pro a little later, I think.
Oh, really?
Yeah. About a year later.
Okay.
Yeah. I had all those guys. Perry Kramer, Dave Clinton. All of them. Bo Tima, Toby Henderson. All those guys.
Lord.
Kevin McNeil was a funny guy to race against. Man.
I heard it was no fun to race against that guy.
Well, Kevin is like a freight train, dude. I mean, he'd just run you over. I mean, just flat out run you over. And and back in the day, they were, it's okay to bump somebody.
Sure.
Kevin would just flat out knock you off the track. I mean, he just come in, blast, right? But that was the end thing back in the day. And that was my introduction in the pro class. I think Stuart put me, I think it was in La Mirada, someplace like that. Stu put me over the turn. I couldn't believe it. I'm like out the gate and I'm like, I'm in front. I'm in front. Don't know what to do. Off the track I'll go.
Right. Stu was like, no, not today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But that right there showed that I know I could keep up with him.
Sure.
I know I can. Oh, hold on one sec. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had one of my animals took. I had some pistachio nuts here. He took my nuts, so I'm running with it. But anyway, he sent me over the turn, and I wasn't too mad about that because, I was beating Stu,
right?
And beating Stu and Kevin Jackson and those guys, Perry Kramer, Ted Gametti. It was awesome. It was an awesome feeling, and from that point on, then I started thinking about, man, I can make some money at this. And Powerlite was looking for a pro. And Tanel,
I totally forgot about your Powerlite days. I'm sorry. Jeez, that's the first time I saw you was on Powerlite with the face mask. Yes.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
dang it.
Tanel brought up that face mask. I think I had a red face mask, red or white. I think a red one or a white one. I had a face mask.
Oh, dude.
And but anyway,
that's my favorite look. The face mask was my favorite. I ran that for years.
Scott, yeah.
Oh, dude, I ran the Oakley one. That was my jam forever.
Yeah.
That's the Amy one. Yep.
I recall I was traveling with Kuwahara because Anthony was on there, and I talked to Howie Cohen. He was the owner of Kuwahara, and Howie and Steve Rink was really close. Sure. And Howie had came to me and said, "Hey, Tommy, I have a gentleman who's looking for a pro, and would you be interested?" Yeah, heck yeah, right. So he introduced me to Steve Ring, and he was the only guy, the only sponsor. That was my best sponsor ever, Powerlite, Steve Ring, and it was just a handshake. That's all it was. No contract to sign, no nothing. Just a handshake.
Really?
He said, "Tommy, I can't afford to pay you a salary." He said, "But I can get you to the races." And at that time, contingencies was really big as well. So we were signing sheets for contingencies. And I said, "You can make really good money,
Right.
getting it free." And I said, "Okay, that's good." And we just took off. We just took off. And once again, I was still green. Didn't know how to train. Didn't know how to eat right. And so I slowly start to understand what's going on. And I raced for him for 3 years.
Really?
3 solid years, yeah.
Wow.
And now coming into the Torca scene, I had lunch with Steve, and I said, "Steve, I had a offer from Torca, and this is what they're going to pay me per month. And of course, they're going to send me all over the place. And I really don't want to go because I'm with you." And he said, "No, Tommy." He said that you outgrew me. He said, you're moving to a new chapter right now. He said, "Take the deal." I said, "Are you sure?" I'm asking him for permission, basically. I didn't really want to leave him. And he said, "Take the offer." He said,
Wow.
you still be around, but take the offer." And I'm like, okay. So a couple of days later, that's when I signed a deal with Torca. Now this Torca situation, I think before I signed the contract, or right after I signed the contract, Mike Miranda was approached by Torca, by Steve Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
And so Mike and I got together. So I think I went down to Torca, and Mike was down there. And so Mike signed a contract with Torca. So now it's just Mike and I. We was like teammates now.
Yep.
And Magoo, Harold Magruder.
Yep.
We call him Magoo. Magoo and a guy named Mike. His name is, it's slipping my mind right now. But he was the team manager for Torca. We're going to be a team manager for the new Torca team. And I told Magoo, I said, "Man, I might have to move out here because I'm planning on moving out of, I was still living at my parents' house." I said, "Well, I'm planning on moving out of my house." And Mike said, "Are you planning on moving?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "Well, I'm planning on moving out of my parents' house." And Magoo said, "Hey, there's a apartment right above us for rent." Like, really? So yeah, let's go over there. It's probably like about a mile and a half from Torca, right? You can walk to Torca from our place.
Wow.
And so we went over there, signed the papers and everything. Boom, got the apartment. And man, let me tell you, those was the best years of my life. We just had so much fun, Mike and I. It was crazy.
That's awesome. So you're young, you're fast, you're making money, and you're living on your own.
Yeah. Exactly. That was the best time, man. That was the best time. And Parks was a riding area that we rode. And we used to ride through leave our apartment, go across the street, ride through a strawberry patch field, ride through a small neighborhood, and Parks is right there. And I was watching Mike jump. Now I was I didn't like to jump. I just like to hit things really fast, right?
Right.
And Mike and I had like a little pat going. He said, "Tommy, if you teach me how to go fast, I teach you how to jump. Done deal." Perfect.
Right.
So we was over at Parks. He's helping me how to jump and everything. And I was teaching him how to sprint, bring the second pedal over quickly. Just think about the first 4 pedals, because those are your struggling pedals. Think about the first 4 pedals. After that, everything should be top speed. And he kept doing it, kept spinning. So we kept, going back and forth like this. So finally he got to a point that he was kind of like beating me consistently, I was like, oh, I got to up my game now.
Right. Yeah.
And so, of course, we went on tour and all this stuff, and that was a blast. And so then I was at the ABA Grands in 1984, and I recall Sandy Finkelman was the team manager for Diamondback. And I remember I was in staging, and he come up to me and say, hey, Tommy, I hear that the Torker is no more. And I'm like, what do you mean no more? He said that they filed for bankruptcy. They no more. I didn't know that. Really? He said, yeah. I'm in staging.
Yeah.
Getting ready for my pro race, and he's telling me this stuff. And kind of freaking me out.
Trying to psych you out. Did you have Eddie King and Harry Leary in your semi? Is that why you came to talk to me?
In the moto, I don't know who I had in my motos. If he's telling me this, I probably had Harry in my moto.
Right, trying to mess with you.
I think Eddie just turned pro. Yeah, he turned pro. But I don't know if one of the guys probably was in there. And then Willie Hubner's dad came over to me.
Yeah.
He said, did you hear about Torker? Torker's is folded. And from that moment on, I was just like gone.
Sure.
I didn't want to race. I just want to go home. And so I recall after the races or whatever, went to the payphone, tried to call, phone disconnected. And so that right there kind of sealed the deal for me.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about, it's NBO, it's ABA Grands. I don't have a ride. Fly back to LAX, walk through the terminal with my bags on my back, and I get a tap on my right shoulder. I turn around, it was Rich Long from GT. He said, hey, you know that Torker folded, right? I like, yeah, I heard something like that. He said, here's my card. Meet me at in my office, 10 o'clock a.m. Okay. Right?
Wow.
So I told Magoo when I got back home, and I said, Magoo, I need you to come with me. He said, where are we going? We're going to GT. He said, really? I said, yeah. So we went over to GT and signed the contract right then and there with Rich Long. And
incredible.
Signed the contract. Back then I had the jerry curl, the little afro deal.
Oh yeah, I remember.
And Rich,
I wasn't going to bring that up, but all right.
So I signed the contract, and Rich grabbed the contract, looked at it, put it in a folder. He said, okay, now you ride for us. You need to cut your hair. So from that moment on, my hair has been short ever since.
It's like the Yankees. You can't have a beard when you play for the Yankees. Same deal. You can't have a jerry curl when you're ride for GT.
No. And rode for GT for 2 years? From 85 to the end of 86.
And that's when you won the world title, the world championships, and you had the Nora Cup those same years, correct?
Yeah. I won the I won quite a few races in the 80s. That's the best year ever.
How much?
How much traveling overseas.
Let's dial it back for a second. You're signing these contracts. How much are you making?
How much did I total make?
Yeah.
From one race or a year?
Just like your year. How much did you make in a year back then?
Oh, geez.
This has always been up for debate, and people talk about how much they made then and how much they make now. And
you can make probably about from 30 to like $70,000 back then.
And that's a lot back then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's a ton back then.
Yeah. And it was amazing. I mean, it was just the best thing ever. Just think about you on vacation. Well, think about, a lot of people probably don't know this, but
permanent vacation, man. You are traveling every weekend on someone's dime, going to the coolest places, flying into Paris, and I went to Japan 3 times because of riding my bicycle. Like, there's not a chance I would have gone to Tokyo for any other reason, right? Like, it was such a wonderful time to be able to do the stuff that we did and got to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I can't tell people enough. Like, you got to get on travel because you don't know how big this world is.
I tell people it's like you're on vacation. You know how you feel like you're on vacation? It's like, yeah, that's how it is every day.
All day.
Every day. I say, I'm home Monday, I'm home Tuesday, I'm home Wednesday, packing up Thursday, I'm out Friday, gone Saturday, fly back Sunday, Monday morning, and do it all over again.
That's it. Yeah, I think one of one of the biggest slaps in my face when I got done racing was when I lost my status on the airplanes. I went from, hey, Mr. Reynolds, we got a first class seat available. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. To you're in row 75, middle seat. Like, what? Really? I can't. Dang.
Yeah.
Like, that was a quick, like, hey, dude,
Yeah.
it's over. It's over.
Yeah. But then I left GT in inning of 86. And
I remember the end of the Hot Shots thing at the end of the year in BMX action, or maybe it was still bicycle motocross action. Tommy Brackens is without a ride. You're standing on the side of the road with your Nora cup and the thumbs up.
Yeah,
I remember that, and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is one of the best dudes.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, I was stunned, but
right.
I want to believe in GT for different reasons. And after I left GT, I was basically done. I didn't want to do it anymore. I mean, the bubble just blew up, And Linda Dorsey called me and she said, Tommy, you just can't quit like this. I said, I'm just burnt out. I just don't want to do it anymore. And she said, how about if I get you a ride, but they can just get you to the races? I said, maybe, let me think about it. So I thought about it for a couple of weeks. I said, okay, I'll give it a shot, So that's when I hooked up with World Class. And that was a short-lived sponsorship. I think I raced probably 5 months, 6 months with those guys. I think I raced the ABA Grands with them. And I raced a couple of NBL races as well. But I wasn't aggressive. I wasn't charging like I normally charge. I just felt like, why am I here? And I didn't want to waste people money and all that stuff. So, we were going to a race someplace, and she said, I can't recall her name, but she called my house. She said, your plane ticket's waiting for you at the airport. And I told her that I don't want to do it anymore. Wow. I said, I don't want to waste your money. I don't want to do this anymore. And she said, you sure? Like, yeah. So that was it. I mean,
and that was the end of it. That was the end of it.
And that was the end of me racing nationals, basically on the normal circuit.
Right.
And I remember a guy named Hartwig. I met him when I was on Torca when we flew to Germany. And we stayed with him for like a week. And it was a bike show in Vegas. And he came down for that. And him and I sat down and talked. And he said, look, he said, your name is really good out there. You ought to start your own bicycle company. I'm like, heck no, I'm not doing that. I don't know the first thing about, that. He said, trust me, come up with a design and we could get it sold. I'm like, you sure? It's like, yeah. Okay. So I was thinking about it. So I came up with a couple of designs and everything. So he had a company make them. And they sold quick. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So I put the money back in and got another 20 more.
Right.
They were gone. So I started building it up. But he said, now you need to get your name out there. People want to see you out there. And I didn't really want to race anymore.
Right.
I just got so, I just don't want to do it. And so he said, you need to get out there. Oh, all right. So I started, racing somewhat. Then I started to get the urge again. And I just didn't, it went up, not to the highest level, but it went up. But it's like, it just wasn't right for me.
Right.
At the time. I was still hurt from the GT deal.
Yeah.
And I just can't do it anymore.
A lot of people don't know when it's time to go.
Yeah.
A lot of times when it's like, I'm going to hang on for another year, and then I'm going to hang on for another year. And then the next thing you know, you're like, I really hate this now.
Yeah, because the fact is that, I built a good reputation, and now the younger kids is coming up, which I understand they hung. Charles Town's a perfect example. I recall Charles and I were racing against one another. We were always racing against each other. And he was like probably 2 bikes into front of me. I couldn't even catch the guy, and I'm like, it's like, I can't do this anymore.
Is that when Charles was still Black Magic riding for Boss?
No, he
Was this on CW?
He was on CW. I think it was the first year of CW.
Got it. So he was just out of Black Magic then.
Yeah. And I recall Charles. Charles is a funny guy. He used to call me up. He was asking about how to go by talking to different sponsors.
Yeah.
I tell him how to do things and all this stuff, and I say, be your own boss. We didn't have no agents and all this. We didn't have trainers and all this stuff. And
right.
You need to go out there. You need to make yourself noticeable to different people. To get them to sign you up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how much money should I make? Let's see what they have to offer. Bump it up.
Right.
Too much, because they can say, well, no, we won't deal with you. So,
right.
And also, if they haven't seen you ride, but they just heard about you, you kind of have to be careful with that stuff, because they can just flat out say, no, we go with someone else cheaper.
Right.
And so, we talked about that often. And about that time, dude, he was gone.
Yeah, Charles was fast. You talk about initiations. That dude put me over the turn all the time. He did. And I love Charles. We have such a good relationship still to this day. And I joke with him all the time. I'm like, Charles, of all the times I was in front of you, you probably put me over the turn half the time. I had to learn that I had to get out so far in front of him that he couldn't.
He couldn't catch it. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. But great guy, fantastic guy.
But that's basically my whole kind of like racing career right there.
I don't want to take up too much more of your time.
No, you can take
there's two things I want to ask. One, how'd you get the nickname the Human Dragster? It's one of my all-time favorite nicknames of everybody in the world. Like, I love it. Like, it's such a good nickname, because you're just like, you say the name and you're like, I know what that dude's all about. Get
well, coming up to the ranks, in 1981 when I turned pro, and I remember making the main event for the World Championship in Las Vegas. Freaked me out. Here I am, first year in pro class. I'm on the starting gate. With Stu, who's that? Stu, Greg Hill, Anthony Sewell, Steve Schobert, Scott Clark, all these guys. I'm looking at these guys like, these guys have been racing for years. Only been racing for like 3.5 years now. And here I am on the starting gate with these guys, for the title. And so, but anyway, it just freaking blew my mind, man. I mean, so
when they're announcing the names, did they announce you as a Human Dragster then? Is that when you got it?
They started announcing the names, Lane 1, you got Anthony Panther, they call him the Professor. They went on, and then it came to me, which you can still see it today. The 1981 World Championship in the Tropicana in Las Vegas. I just saw it a couple of days ago, matter of fact.
Awesome.
It came to me and said, this is Machine Gun Brackens. Like, Machine Gun Brackens? I'm from South Central. That's the last thing I want to be affiliated with a gun. And a couple of people started calling me Boom Boom Machine Gun Brackens, and I didn't even respond to that. Okay, now going to, I think we had a race back east, or the NBL Grands or something. I can't recall what race was that, but I remember Bob Hunt. He raced for Cook Brothers.
Mm-hmm.
And if he doesn't make the main, he goes up there and he does announcing. He just does the pros because he knows everybody.
Yeah,
like Lenny Paticki.
Yeah.
And so he started announcing, and of course I couldn't hear it. So I went back to the pits, and someone's telling me, "Oh, the Human Dragster." I'm like, "Who's that?" He says, "It's you." Like, who said I'm the Human Dragster? Well, they just announced your name as the Human Dragster. And so I went to Bob, and Bob, was like, "Hey, you're the Human Dragster now." I said, "Dude, you just spin. You come out the gate, man. You like the first one at the jump, like a dragster, right?" And that thing stuck. I mean, it stuck. And everyone started calling me Human Dragster, Human Dragster, Human Dragster. Okay, all right. I take it.
Well, Tommy, how do I talk to you every time I see you? I just call you Dragster. Like, dude,
yeah,
that's it, man. Like,
you don't call me by my name.
Nah,
you don't call me by my name.
Dude. You I love it.
Dragster.
Oh
yeah. Who's that? Richardson called me that. Jason Richardson calls me that.
Yeah, of course. Because it's the best, dude. It's the best. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I get fun. I mean, Greg Hill called me that. I mean, Stewart, all those guys.
Right.
We just had fun with it.
And what a fantastic time to come through, right? You, with such a short career that you have had a major impact on the sport in a very short amount of time. And that speaks volumes about so many things about your character, your ability on a bike, just who you are as a person. That's awesome.
Yeah, Craig, I could recall, I'm not going to mention any names, but I felt that I didn't fit in for some apparent reason. I just felt that I didn't fit in. I had friends, but I just felt that these guys was like up here because they've been racing so much longer than I have.
Right.
Right. So I still, with me, I felt that, I'm in a league with these guys, but these guys are so much higher. And I recall Tanel was saying that, you just as equal as everybody else. Anthony told me the same thing. He said, go out there and you just do your thing and you will get the respect that you earn. And I felt that slowly coming on. When I joined Torker, and I think I won the Pittsburgh race, so two Pittsburgh, the South Park and North, when I doubled both days.
Right.
I seen that shift right then and there. They were saying that, hey, say, dude, you like this. You're a phenomenal dude. Your gate start is killer. You never seen a guy come out the gate that fast before ever.
Fast, twitchy.
And yeah. And so I felt a little shift in, but I still felt the same. I used to come to the pits, go through the pits, and people used to point at me, hey, that's Tommy Brackens, blah, blah, blah. I say, hey, how's it going? I go in and talk to them. They freak out. Like, what are you guys so freaked out for? It's like, dude, you Tommy Brackens. I was like, okay, yeah, and you so-and-so. I mean,
right.
To me, it's like, you're equal as I am. Except I like to race bikes.
Right.
But
do you think, and this is the second part of the question I want to ask you about. There weren't a lot of black dudes racing BMX bikes back in the day. Not a lot of black dudes racing bikes, period, back in the day. Still to this day.
Well, they had quite a few of them back in the early 80s.
Mm-hmm.
But as it progressed up in the 90s, fewer and fewer and fewer, you had, Veltmans, you had Charles Townsend, Richardson, Jason. But then when it hit the mid 2000s going up, it kept dwindling down. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, man, this is what happened.
Right.
I just look at him, it's like, what happened? I've been out of the sport for so long. I just like, if that's the way they want to, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's not enough money involved in it, or it's too much work,
or maybe it's the cost of entry. The cost of entry is expensive, right? To race a BMX bike. Yeah,
and the traveling and all that. I mean, you can spend just on one rider. All depends what class. I mean, you can spend thousands of dollars for one person.
Easily.
For a weekend.
Easily.
Oh yeah, blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And so that may be it. I don't know.
What was the attraction for bikes for you? What was the part where you're like, yeah, I want to race bikes and not play basketball or continue to run track?
Well, it was a challenge for me. The very first time I got on the bike and went to Van Nuys, when I couldn't make it around the track, I said, I know I can. Like a little, I know I can. And I worked at it until I could go around the track without blowing my brains out, barfing up or something like that, Yeah, but it was a challenge. And so I made things like that a challenge for me. Then it got around to, people said, oh, Brackens can't jump this, Brackens can't jump that. He's fast in the straight, but he can't jump this, he can't jump that. And I remember Steve Rink used to tell me, he said, Tommy, you're the fastest person out here on this racetrack. What you need to do is slow it down. Slow down. That's the first person ever told me to slow it down, right? He said, you are so fast, you can afford to slow down. Just take it easy over the jump and then take them, right? And I said, you know how hard it is to slow down when you got Stu and Brent and Kevin and those guys in your moto? You can't. He said, no, just do it. So I started slowing down a little bit. And I'm like, oh, okay, it's a little bit easier. And what happened was I couldn't see it, but he saw it, that my timing was off. Because I'm going so fast, I was doing late, pulling up late or pulling up way too early or something like that, and just throwing my timing off.
Right.
So I was slowing up a little bit, tapping my brakes for the jumps and everything. And I felt pretty comfortable, right? And then that Tommy can't jump start to go away. Right. And then they said, with Tommy don't have style. I said, well, I don't think I need style to beat you.
It wasn't a freestyle contest. And exactly. That world championship trophy right behind you, or that plate, says it right there.
No, yeah, exactly. And so that used to bug me. Brackens can't jump this, can't jump that, he can't do this, can't do that. And he always explode. He get out in front, he falls and this and that. So when Steve Frink told me that I need to slow it down a little bit, it made a lot of sense at that time.
Right.
It did and didn't. If he didn't say anything, I'd still be going. Try to go 100 miles an hour to hit that first jump.
Right.
But I started slowing up a little bit.
That's what makes make tracks. It's hard to say this, but the tracks back in the day, the jumps were so small. They were so short. Like it's easy to overjump everything. They weren't well groomed like they became. No. And the lip was different all the way across. Yeah.
The lips were some jumps let's say the NBO tracks were. I love the NBO tracks. They was wide open. For me, I like that. Some tracks a little peaky. ABA was more technical.
Totally. Yeah.
They all picked up, double, triples, and everything else. And it's kind of hard for me at the ABA race because I just like to go really, really fast and hit those things. And sometimes the back end to catch. I mistime it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But still, I had a blast racing ABA races. But NBO was my favorite races on the tracks.
You're speaking for a lot of people when you say that. Yeah. That's for sure.
It was just fun tracks.
Yep.
Really, really, really fun.
Yeah.
But then again, you have some riders that are technical. Eric Carter, Mikey King. Those guys, technical racers, and they love the technical stuff. I race it. I didn't care for it too much, but I still try to do my best and try to adjust and everything to it.
Right.
I won a couple of ABA races as well. It's something that I really love to do. It was just a passion, and just seeing people. And I remember you, when you was racing back in the day. For some reason, I thought you was from Florida.
Really?
I thought you was from Florida. I always see you back then when I go to Florida sometime.
That's right. Yeah, because that was like our first outdoor swing when we would go. Once we got out of the winter, we'd go down there for spring break, and that's when it started off. So that's where we would see each other.
Sarasota and all the races down there. It's God dang, it's just I'm start thinking about some of the tracks back there. It was amazing, man. But then you get into the tracks where they have asphalt turns, which NBO had at the I think.
Sarasota, I think, was the first place that I went to that had asphalt turns.
Yeah, they had the, then had all the writing and paint, all that crap there. So you can't lean your bike too much over because
it gets slippery.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was our first experience with something like that, but it's just the turns only. Now they got the trackers like that.
The whole track, it seems like it, right?
Yeah. The whole
whatever they put on the track now, it is just rock hard.
I can imagine you set those guys up with a off-camera turn.
It's a different sport, man. It is a different sport now. It's
you see every single one of them crash.
Right. Wait, we got to slow down because them dudes are wide open and they're so fast too, though.
Yeah, they are
so fast. But man, they're wide open the whole time. They don't have to hit their brakes.
No, not necessarily.
Turns are bowled out, just they're so fast.
Yeah, and also they have they don't bump each other. I mean, back when I could speak for all of us, including you. Semi. You don't want to be in fourth place in the semi.
You don't want to be in fourth place. Nope. And sometimes and sometimes if you're not in first, second, or third, sixth place is the spot because fifth is going to take 4 out and you're in the main.
Yeah.
That's it. You're like, oh, he's going to take him out. I'm going to wait right here.
Everyone's watching the fourth place rider.
Every time.
Everybody.
Yep. Every time.
Yeah.
Yep.
Today's races, they just side by side, which is it's fine. that's the style of racing, man. And I understand why they're doing that, because the guys are clipped in and
they're clipped in and they got to jump 50 feet coming out of the corner.
Yeah.
If you bump them, like, they're done. The race is over, right? It's like a school of fish now. They're all just.
Yeah. Which, some races are exciting, some are, not that exciting. But I still like it, when we were racing, it was just a lot more, to us, it was a lot more fun.
I agree. I can't say how much fun it is now because I don't do it. But, man, I had a great time. And I had a great time watching you. I feel honored to have you on the show today and to be able to call you a friend.
Oh, yeah, you are definitely a friend, but I mean, just like I've known you since you were what, 14, 15?
Dude, I was little. I was young, man.
Skinny dude, man, but you were fast. You were freaking fast, man. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I was trying to live up to what you had already put down, dude. That's what I was doing.
You were doing a good job. Let me tell you, you were doing a darn good job.
Well, Tommy, I appreciate that, man. And I appreciate your time today. It is always great catching up. And since we live so close, one of these days I'm going to get down to Atlanta and we'll get together then.
Yeah, they got the National coming out here at the end of this month.
Oh, that's right. They do, don't they?
Yeah.
You know who's down there right now, too, shooting a movie is Kevin Jackson.
Yeah, I heard he's out here. Yeah.
Yep, he's out there right now. He'll be out there until like January, or I'm sorry, like July or something. So maybe I'll try to get down and we'll all get together.
Yeah, heck yeah, that'd be fun to see Kevin. I haven't seen Kevin in years, man. I mean,
nobody has. That fool is nowhere to be found. He's a ghost.
I think he was at the Hall of Fame banquet one year, and he was come walking up, and like Kevin's like, yeah, the soft spoken, yeah. Like, oh my, gave him a big old hug. Man, I haven't seen you in decades, man. When did you keep in? Oh, I've been around.
He ain't been around. That fool. I argue with him all the time. He's not on social media. He's nowhere. I'll send him a picture. Where'd you get that from? I'm like, Facebook, dude. Maybe if you get on there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get on it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Tommy, you go enjoy the rest of your day, man. Thank you again so much for your time. If you guys like what you're seeing, please make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. And if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, subscribe there as well. Tommy, you have a great day, and I will talk with you soon.
Take care, buddy. Bye.